Hello, everyone. I wanted to talk today about the double edged sword of personality traits. My name is Beck Nelson. I'm a licensed marriage and family therapist. I'm also a psychic medium, and I take both my mental health and spiritual health skills to help you transform. Next week I'm going to be, or excuse me, next week, tomorrow, my group is beginning. It's the Cut the You Know What Breakthrough Blueprint Workshop, and we begin tomorrow. So if you've been wanting to sign up, now is the time. We are starting tomorrow night at 7 o'clock. And today I wanted to talk about the double edge of sort of personality traits. So what happened was last night I actually this week began a new group myself because I still love to continue to learn. So I hope that you continue to learn too because I had an assignment for the class and I had to let me read it from here. I had to ask three people that are close to me and ask them about my top three most positive qualities. So I started with somebody very close to me. I will not say who, but what happened was they he gave me three personality traits that I was reflecting on and said, these traits that you're saying are my positive qualities are actually things that not only have other people criticized me before, but they're actually traits that this person has actually criticized me for. And I was like, that's very interesting. So this is something that I'm wondering has happened with you. So let me tell you what the three personality traits are that he said were actually a positive trait, and then but in the past they've been criticized for. So the first one was he said that I always see the good in everyone. So I want to know if this has come up for you. This is actually a trait that helps fostering understanding and compassion from other people. You're always seeing the good in everybody. So when he comes to me and is kind of complaining about somebody at work or whatever, and I'm saying, well, and I kind of talk about, well, maybe they're going through a hard time, and at home they have trouble with trust, etc. So he's saying I always it always kind of makes me want think about like, geez, maybe I really shouldn't be criticizing this person because of how you always have this compassion and understanding for other people. And I'm saying, well, that's interesting because in the past I've been told that this kind of makes me too trusting or too naive or too vulnerable because I do this. So I'm wondering if that's something that you've been criticized for, being too trusting and seeing the good in everyone. The second one was putting the happiness of others first. Again, this has been highlighted as altruistic and something that you need in relationships and in community building because you often, you sometimes have to put aside what you need for the good of who you're living with or in your relationship or in the community, right? So this again was put out as something that was a positive, and I'm thinking again in the past, particularly when I was parenting, this was a criticism. I've been neglecting my own needs and putting the importance of self care, but also I was told when I was actively parenting that I don't say no enough, and that's why sometimes my daughter had bad behaviors because I didn't say no enough. Now I'm looking back on this and saying, I didn't see it as me not saying no enough. I grew up with a parent that was, my father was very critical and had no problem putting his own needs first. And I felt like I was always getting put on the back burner. So I wanted to make sure that I was a parent that put my child first. And that was criticized as being too never saying no and not putting myself first and not putting my foot down. And I didn't feel like looking back on it, even, other people that were close to me had criticized me for that. And I remember feeling like icky about that. And you kind of, now it's being, I'm being told that this is actually a positive quality of mine. So again, I want to know if this is something that you have experienced as well. And the third thing was that I am not vengeful and I don't hold grudges. Now, I'm like, this is great because there's a lot of strength in being able to forgive other people, and it takes a lot of emotional intelligence to be able to forgive other people. But in the past, I've been criticized for this because not holding grudges or not being angry enough might be perceived as a weakness or a lack of being assertive enough. And I don't see it that way at all. I see it as actually something I don't want to be able to have to hold on to being angry at other people. When you hold on to anger towards other people, sometimes it's because you want to give yourself enough reason to be angry. Because if I forgive you, then somehow it means that what you did wasn't wrong and that I'm actually right. And some people want to be given praise themselves. They want to be able to give validation or even empathy that somebody did something wrong to them. And they want to be able to hold on to that. So if they forgive somebody else, then they don't have the then other people won't feel badly for them or validate that they can be upset about this. And I don't think that those two things have to go together. I think that holding on to things is not good for your body and your heart. It's too heavy to carry around, and it's an energy that I don't want to expend on other people. I want to be able to save that energy for myself rather than holding that energy of lack of forgiveness on other people. But so I'm being told that this is a strength of mine, and it's emotionally intelligent, but then also in the past I've been told that it's a weakness or a lack of assertiveness, and I want to know if this is something that you've experienced as well. So there's an internal conflict, right? When you're told that who you are and these qualities are is difficult because you're being told that these are something that make you vulnerable and weak. So it causes doubt and confusion about your identity, about who you are. So I wanted to know if this is something that you've experienced too. Um, but also the context matters because there are certain qualities that are actually like being assertive and not taking no for an answer or putting what you want, being able to put your what you want out there without any questions, or sometimes going over running over all the people to do what you think is the right thing could actually be seen as a good thing, like at a job. So sometimes the things that make you great at your job are actually things that you might get into fights with your partners about, or not, you might not be wanting to go around other people because these are actually seen as vulnerabilities or weaknesses. So sometimes, like, I personally kind of back off from other people because things that I think are actually a strength of mine are actually something that people don't want to be around me about, or that I get criticized for. And who wants to feel like they're criticized all the time? So what I'm saying is that this is a topic that we're going to definitely talk about in more expanded themes. We're going to explore these deeper in my workshop, Cut the Shit, the Breakthrough Blueprint Workshop. We're going to discuss these very issues, this dichotomy between who we are and then told that we're not okay for who we are. And we're going to try to talk about balance and harmony in our lives. So we're going to talk about these very topics in the group, and we're going to be able to bounce this off of each other and talk about like-minded experiences. So any last minute registrations we will certainly welcome, and you don't need to actually, even if you can't come to any of these sessions, they will be played out. We're going to be talking about these and supporting each other in the Facebook group. So I invite you to come in where we are able to talk about these things, and we encourage these reflections, and we encourage you to continue with these traits that we've been told make us vulnerable in certain situations. So I invite you to come in and talk about that and start the group. And there's going to be underneath this video, I'm going to have the sign up sheet. So I hope to see you for our 4-week group starting tomorrow. Thanks, everybody.